So today we're going to be saving the life of a watermelon. This watermelon, unfortunately, is 32 years old, and he fell down and hit his head. And he came into our operating room in our hospital saying that he was confused with a severe headache, and we looked at his pupils and they were uneven. So we took him to a CT scan, and we noticed that there was a large bleed in the parietal area. So this is called a parietal epidural hematoma, which means that it's below the skull but just above the layer of the brain. So today I'm going to show you how to excise this. So we're going to take our scalpel, so a plastic knife in this case. We're going to cut open the skin here, which is a Ziploc bag, and then we're going to expose the skull here. And then we're going to take our surgical drill, which is another plastic knife, and we're going to drill 4 holes that are in the shape of a square. So I'm going to do that with the knife really quickly. An interesting thing is, according to Dr. Mishra, that 1 in 3 head injuries are actually these kinds of hematoma injuries, or hematomas. And they're actually very life-threatening. In fact, about 15 to 20% of these people die. So it's very important that you get to these quickly, because the blood actually puts a lot of pressure on the brain, and as you know, that's bad. So now that we've drilled the 4 holes, we're going to take a bone saw, which is another plastic knife, and we're going to cut through the skull in the holes. And you may be wondering why we drilled these holes in the first place. It's because we need to get visualization of the brain better. So that way, because if we just drilled through with a saw, we'd probably hit the brain, and that would also be bad. So we're going to drill through the skull here and pull it out. And this is what is known as a craniotomy. So now we're going to look for the hematoma, which it's kind of hard to see, but there's a thin film here that it's another Ziploc bag. But what this is called, this is the dura of the brain. So it's kind of like a skin around the brain. I know in movies a lot of times you see the skull open and you see a bunch of wrinkles in the brain, but that's not actually how it looks, because there's actually another layer to protect the brain. So it's called epidural because the bleed is above the brain. And we're going to pull that out right now. And it's a strawberry. That's the blood. So. Okay, so now, since it's a craniotomy, not a craniectomy, which is the removal of the skull, we have to put it back. So you find which way it lines up, and normally you would have like metal plates that screw in and make sure that the skull is actually in place, and cover the holes, of course, because you don't want holes in your brain. But I don't have any of that with me right now, so we're just going to put it in and hope that everything turns out okay. Which I can guarantee it probably will for this watermelon, but I'm going to eat it when I get back, so. Alright. So now the last thing that we need to do is just close up the skin. So I'm going to take my 4-O-Proline, which is a type of suture, and I'm going to quickly, hands are shaking a lot, that's a bad sign, just suture up the skin. And I do this by simply taking this hooked needle and bringing it through here, and then tying some knots in it. I don't know if I'll have time to actually do the full suture, because this is like a 5-minute presentation, so, but hopefully I can have time to get a few in. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a running line suture, because it's a lot faster than doing individual sutures, and I don't want to use staples right now, because it would leave a very nasty scar on the patient's brain, which is a watermelon again. So yeah, that's about it.